Taylor Hartley, Dave Campbell's Texas Football, alongside my friend and my colleague, the Director of Recruiting at Dave Campbell's Texas Football, Greg Powers.
What's up?
How's it going?
Good.
All right, more rankings.
Diving into some rankings.
Ranking season. So we've already released the top 10 quarterbacks in 2026. We released the top 10 cornerbacks yesterday. Released the top 10 running backs in the class of 2026. Let's move on to safeties.
Let's do it.
So for this video, we're going to shorten it up a bit. We're only going to talk about the top 5 safeties in the class of 2026. But you can go to texasfootball.com/recruiting. That will have the full top 10 list revealed on the 2026 safeties in the state of Texas. And starting off strong here, we're going to Frisco Panther Creek, and we're going to talk about Donovan Webb, 6 foot 175. So his stats are, I have his whole list of stats here.
Take a breath. You got this.
Do I need to say them all? Do you think that it's definitely important enough to say it all?
You got this. What you should do is say his stats, but save the air for all the official visits. Because he's got a lot of those too.
Okay, here we go. I can do this.
All right, you got it.
3 touchdowns, 120 tackles, 5 interceptions, 2 forced fumbles, 2 punt returns, 4 touchdowns, 195 and 169 yards, 330 total punt return yards, 9 pass breakups, 19 carries for 172 yards, and he's averaging 9.1 yards a carry. Also, those are last year's stats, last season's stats for Donovan Webb.
Also, he's a first-team All-State member.
First-team All-State member,
7-4A Division I co-defensive MVP with official visits scheduled with Texas, TCU, Baylor, SMU, Kansas State, Ohio State, Michigan, LSU, and Oklahoma. 9 official visits scheduled right now. And this week, I noticed that I think he went to Ohio State and Michigan.
Well, along with his friend, Jalen Lott.
Yeah, so I think he saw a couple of the schools that were already on his official visit list. Webb is one of my favorite players in this class. I love his highlight. I'm in love with his highlight tape.
He's fun.
He's so fun to watch. I think he could be as effective playing corner, but his range is so good that I feel like you have to put him at safety.
Right.
He covers so much ground.
He does. And he's one of those players, too, that you watch his huddle tape, but you don't even necessarily need to watch him in a game because he looks the exact same almost every game.
I actually think he looks better in person because I don't feel like you can appreciate his frame potential on tape. When you see him with your own 2 eyes, you can see that he's one of the more physically imposing guys now, but still has a freakish upside.
Yeah, he sure does.
There's a lot to like about Donovan Webb. He's also a really good person, a good student athlete, well-rounded, I would say, football recruit. So good number 1 at the top of this list this year.
Well coached, too, by Coach Surratt there.
Yeah, no doubt. Shout out to Coach Surratt, who's been doing a tremendous job there.
At number 2, let's go down to Houston and talk about Galena Park North Shore. Chace Calicut at 6'3", 190. He's got a couple of official visits scheduled, and it's a really good list. Texas, Michigan, and Washington. And the thing about Chace Calicut here, and I know we've mentioned this to you before, I think this is going to be the year that he steps up and shines, because last year you had linebacker Charles Ross, and you also had the best corner, the number 2 prospect in the state of Texas, number 2 prospect probably nationally, or in the top 5 nationally, in Devin Sanchez.
Freak show.
They're both gone now.
Yep.
So it's going to be his year.
I think so too. And 6'3", 190 pounds, he has a tremendous frame. He could end up growing into a guy who thrives in the box. But one of the things that makes me fall in love with him as a player is his coverage skills. He plays center field like no other player in this class. Really long arms, has a knack for getting one of his hands in there to break up passes, plays under control most of the time. Very physical. So there's a lot to like about Chace Calicut, and he's going to be the guy, the premier guy on North Shore's defense in 2025. So he has a lot to prove.
Absolutely. At number 3, we'll kind of stick in the Houston area and Talk about Fort Bend Marshals. Isaiah Williams at 6 foot 185. He collected 56 tackles and 5 tackles for a loss as a junior in 2024. We have him currently as a 4-star, and he named top 5. It was Texas, LSU, Missouri, Ohio State, and Oklahoma.
Yeah, I like him as another guy who can thrive in the box, kind of a strong safety type. But whenever he has the opportunity to make a break on a pass, he flies in there with reckless abandon. So not the guy on this list who you want to play over the middle against, because he will decapitate you. Right. A good tackler, and teams tried to learn to avoid him last season after he completely dominated his sophomore year. And I think that's something important to understand as you're looking at these plays. His highlights definitely pop, right? But Isaiah Williams was a known commodity coming into 2024, and teams were doing anything they could do to keep to keep him from making one of those highlight plays against them.
Well, and you have to remember, too, this is a Fort Bend Marshall defense that obviously Isaiah led last year, that did not allow more than 14 points to be scored in 9 of their 13 total games last season.
Hard to get a lot of tackles whenever the other team does not have the ball.
Correct. Correct. That's a great point. At number 4, we'll jump back up into the DFW area, and we'll talk about Frisco Lone Stars, Jordan Deck. At 6'3", 185, he racked up 72 tackles and 14 PBUs to earn first-team All-District honors in his junior campaign. The DCTF 3-star has official visits lined up to Baylor, Colorado, Michigan, Ole Miss, Penn State, and UCLA. Another fantastic list.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And I think you can look at Deck and make the similar comparisons that we made to Calicut at number 2. And one thing you're going to notice looking at this list is we updated the top 10 prospects in the state. So we have 1 through 10. We haven't named our top 50, which will be all the 4-stars in the 2026 class. And we haven't named the top 100 yet. Looking at this list, you're going to notice something. You're going to notice that Jordan Deck is currently rated as a 3-star, and Markel Ford, one spot beneath him on this list, is rated as a 4-star, which, spoiler, Markel Ford is next. I'm going to step a little bit on your toes to get this, to get this out there. But, spoiler, maybe Deck will potentially join him on that 4-star list later on, and that's because he's a tall, rangy safety who plays for Jeff Rayburn at Frisco Lone Star, which has been easily one of the top talent-producing schools in Texas in recent memory. As a matter of fact, the players there aren't only good recruits, they prove themselves by being quality contributors at the next level, and a lot of them have gone on to be drafted into the league. So right now, if you're recruiting Frisco Lone Star, you're typically recruiting guys that are going to be difference makers.
They've got high upsides, basically.
And Deck is one of those guys because he's great in coverage. He used to be a receiver, and you can notice that kind of when you're watching him because he has natural ball skills. But I was impressed with his ability to come downhill and want to hit and tackle. He doesn't waste any movement. He doesn't think about it. It's just natural to him, and that's something that I had questions about because he had moved from wide receiver.
Right. Well, and then you already mentioned it, number 5. We've got Markel Ford at 6 foot 185. He was at Mesquite Horn last season. We don't know exactly, nothing's been confirmed yet at where he'll play his senior season yet in the state of Texas, but he earned first team District 11 6A All-District honors last season at Mesquite Horn, and the 4-star holds over 35 offers, and some of those including LSU, Oklahoma, SMU, and of course he was actually committed to Texas A&M.
Yeah, recent decommitment from Texas A&M. As a matter of fact, in writing the decommitment story about Ford, I put, Mesquite Horn safety decommits from Texas A&M as the title. Or one of their coaches was kind enough to let us know that he's no longer at Mesquite Horn. Rumors suggest that he may now be at DeSoto, but that hasn't been confirmed. We haven't been able to confirm that, so we'll say TBA on his high school for now. But wherever he plays, that school is getting a field general. That's how I would describe Ford's game. From the moment he stepped on the field at Mesquite Horn, he was that team's defensive leader. he was so poised as a sophomore, and he's so aggressive that he knocked himself out in a game last season. That's how hard that he plays, you know. So this is a guy that plays with reckless abandon. He's a big hitter, but he's also very savvy and very intelligent. That's why I call him a field general, because he brings those types of qualities to the safety position. Big dude. I still think that he could probably spin some.
185. Yeah.
He could. And a big frame. He's kind of jacked up. So I think he could potentially grow into an outside linebacker with time.
Definitely.
But right now, from what I've seen, safety is the position that I feel most comfortable with him playing, and I think that the colleges do as well.
Absolutely. So there you go. The top 5 safeties in the class of 2026 in the state of Texas. Keep it locked on texasfootball.com/recruiting for the full top 10 list of the safeties in the class of 2026.